I grew up watching Spike Lee's of the world, Robert Townsend's, these types of films. So Mr. Wizdom started off because I wanted to actually put out a word, write something that made a difference and told a message instead of, and had my experiences embedded in that. I brought in Queen, and we got brought in Beauty, and I used these names because I was tired of the names that were being used for our Black women in film.
Interludes, a pure Lighthouse production, brought to you by A1 Pest Masters. For all your exterminating and pest control needs, call A1 Pest Masters. And now, all the way live from the south side of Chicago, give it up for your host, Valarie Johnson. Chicago native and first-time filmmaker Dre Blaze Rodgers has done some amazing things that most would seemingly think to be impossible. During 2020, he wrote and directed an independent film during COVID, secured a distribution deal after submitting his work to free film festivals, and the achievement of all time, his film is now available on one of the most popular streaming platforms in the world. No, not Netflix, Amazon Prime. The Mysterious Mr. Wizdom is Rodgers' step into the filmmaking world. Executive producer Michael Womble and I sit down with Dre and two of his cast members to discuss his monumental achievement of this film during one of the most challenging times in our history. Hi, my name is Valarie Johnson, and welcome to Interludes. On the podcast on today, I want to introduce you to a new filmmaker based here in Chicago. He has released a film called The Mysterious Mr. Wizdom. Guys, please welcome Dre Blaze Rodgers. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction.
Right.
And Mr. Blaze, he says just call him Dre. Two of his cast members are here. Could you go ahead and introduce them for me, please?
Yes. So with me, I have Yolanda, which actually she plays Queen in The Mysterious Mr. Wizdom. And then I have Jennifer Davis, who has just popped on right on time. And she is Beauty in The Mysterious Mr. Wizdom. So this is my cast here. I'm missing one, Junior, but that's okay. We'll catch him next time.
And then also, guys, as you all know, myself and the executive producer, Michael Womble, we're here to talk The Mysterious Mr. Wizdom and to find out all about this film. And it's always exciting to have filmmakers on this podcast because lately we have been talking film, we've been talking actors, we've been talking a lot lately, and just the overall presence of Black filmmakers. I just wanted to find out what inspired doing this film, and you did this last year during COVID. How was that filming during this time for you, Dre?
Actually, it was difficult, but at the same time, it really wasn't. The reason why is because number one, a lot of people didn't have nothing to do. I understand there were a lot of things that were happening with the virus, but we had a tight group. I wanted to make sure that we had at least, not too many people. I think we only had a cast of maybe 7 to 8, people. And we wanted to make sure that our tight group, we stuck with each other. So we weren't going out, partying, hanging with people. I don't think any of us went to the protests. We were kind of just focused. We had a plan. We had a word that was written. And my hat's off to them because they took what I wrote and we did it in about 75% of that movie was done in one day. And so, hats off to them to be able to remember those types of words, and be able to display that in film in a short period of time. So that was, the biggest win was the fact that, when you're dealing with film and small filmmakers with small budgets, you don't want to don't waste people's time. Time is money. And if you don't have money to pay them, then you should have a plan that's set up that you don't waste their time. And so that was what my biggest thing was. And so I had a detailed plan that they can go through, and we knocked it out.
And when you were coming up with the script, and it's beautifully shot here in Chicago, what was kind of the catalyst for your main character, and you portray the main character, Mr. Wizdom? What was kind of the catalyst for writing this script and saying, I want to specifically, think of shoot in these neighborhoods? I noticed you were in Hyde Park, noticed you were downtown. What inspired you to literally highlight Chicago?
I think the biggest thing and the biggest inspiration for Mr. Wizdom was the fact that, number one, I saw a lot of things happening with our youth, and being a father also, that I saw a lot of advantages. I went back to school and learned a little bit about film, and, took some classes. And the biggest thing I saw is that people in Chicago public schools, they had like Apples, they had like every technology that you can think of in those schools, but there don't be nobody at the desk using them. And so I was in there, I was using all of that stuff. And then I started writing. I wanted to write about Mr. Wizdom because I was like, what would happen if you put me in a young body, or, put an old guy in a young body? Like who would gain the most out of that switch, and so that's how Mr. Wizdom was kind of born. It was going to be a switch that happened, and let's find out what happens, and what's the young guy going to do, what's the old guy going to do, and who is going to gain the most knowledge.
Right. Michael, go ahead and take it over from this.
Before, let's go just one more question kind of about filmmaking before we talk about the actually plot, structure, the cast, and the excellent job they did with the film. Before, when we were talking, you were talking about My Superman, the man from Metropolis, Illinois.
Yes.
Metropolis, Illinois. That's Oscar Micheaux.
Yes.
That man, and that you found some inspiration in what Oscar Micheaux did. I want to ask you about that, and also, in addition to yourself, do you see any other filmmakers out there who are following in that tradition? I know that they are Black filmmakers. There's no doubt about that. But I'm talking about people who are following in Micheaux's tradition.
The biggest thing when studying about Micheaux is that he had small budgets. He had the first Black motion picture film company for a Black man, all totally owned. And he did 44 films, okay? And each film that he did and was sold paid for the next film. And so he couldn't really pay for that much film, right? Because it was the real reels, it was 1800, so he couldn't pay for that much film. So everything was like one take. So it was like, whoa, man, he did it, and yeah, the quality as the time would go on in 44 film, he wanted to get better, but he did what he had to do, and he put, Black film kind of on the map. And, just studying that and knowing that it is possible to do if you do have a plan, and then you have good people who want to execute that plan. It's very possible. With the technology we got, please, is very much possible. But, I think the biggest thing is he had stories. They were controversial. The press that they put out about him was just it was racist in its highest form. But at the end of the day, he made real stories about real life stories that happens, and not the things that we're seeing now that are kind of replicated. So the originality was just off the chain at that point, and that's what I studied.
Do you see anybody doing that today? I mean, they're black filmmakers. I mean, I could give you a whole list of them off the top of my head, but in terms of following Michelle's tradition, I know you mentioned one of them who was from Chicago before. You mentioned Robert Townsend. You see a lot of that in Spike. I don't know. What is your theory on where Metropolis came from? If
that's any city.
Isn't that weird?
It is.
No, that's any city. It's literally any city, because I always think about the DC Marvel, Marvel universe.
That is, but officially in his bio, that's where Michelle is from. Yeah. He's from Metropolis, which I guess you could interpret it, Valarie, as saying like he could be from anywhere in Illinois. And he makes the trip. He makes the trip out west. He comes back to Chicago. He has this vision. He makes sure that it's executed in a way. And I think one of the things that that you have mentioned, and we certainly don't want to overlook, is the fact that if you're doing this all in one day, you're doing this all in one take, you've got an incredible cast to do that, because we see modern movies now, the outtakes and the blooper reel and all. There ain't no blooper reel, man. That's money.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
Right? Take one, done, move on. So we have two of the leading ladies of the film here with us. We've got Miss Yolanda Bell, and we have Miss Jennifer Davis. Miss Bell plays Queen, the character Queen. Miss Davis plays Beauty in the film. And I just want to ask both of you, ladies, about this process. What was it like making this film? And tell us the different ways you contributed to the film. We see what you do on the screen, but what else did you do? How else did you contribute to the overall video that we get to see on Amazon Prime?
Well, I'm Yolanda, of course, and again, thank you for having us today. I am Queen, and to be honest with you, ever since we filmed this, or we started filming, everyone in the cast and other people I know who have watched it, they now call me Queen. So because I have a new identity now. Welcome,
Queen. Welcome, Queen.
Nice.
Thank you. Well, as far as what is that I contributed or saw in the film, I want to say it was actually, to be honest with you, it was a lot of fun. We had a wonderful time. And as he mentioned, the time span that we took to film it, I mean, it was pressing, but considering we all have such a passion for the industry, we were willing to sacrifice our time and our talent. So it was all well worth it. We put ourselves into it. That's what I would say. We put ourselves into the role. We put ourselves into the character, and we put ourselves into the loyalty that we have for Andre. So I think we contributed a lot to the population who watched it. I have people who have watched it, of course, and they will call me and tell me. Even some people who would actually be honest, and I ask everyone who has watched it to give me your honest outlook and your opinion. There are some people who don't like that type of film or not familiar with it, but everybody enjoyed it. They took something away from it. I think it was family. It was good, clean family entertainment, which we don't see much of nowadays. I mean, nowadays parents have to monitor basically everything their children watch. So I think it was it could be a family film, and it was something that I even learned. I'm familiar with the Oak Park area, and of course, Chicago. I live in the north suburbs. But even to learn a little more about that particular community of Oak Park, going through the museums and some of the areas in that community. So I would say we contributed overall, and speaking for myself, I think I gave the general public something new. We gave them ourselves, and we gave them something else to look forward to, because I have already been asked. They say, the way that end, I have a feeling there's gonna be a Wizdom too. So
Oh gosh, and that segues to one of our next questions. But how was it working? You played the love interest, Jennifer, to Joe Sutton Jr.'s character. How was it working with him?
Oh, it was a blast. I really enjoyed it. I do take the profession from being an actress very seriously. So starting head on, I think that was like our very first conversation with Joseph. I'm like, you're gonna feel this like this is real, okay? I want you to remember it's not. But he understood, and we had a ball. It was amazing. I feel that the chemistry was definitely there. We were able to build that connection and bring it out on screen. The interest in one another, I think that was awesome. I do feel as though we all kind of embodied our characters, and we became that. So to this day, we still meet each other and we're in character.
Yeah.
Immediately. Like it's nonstop.
I definitely want to talk with I always have a favorite scene if there's a scene, and it's something that looks beautifully shot, Dre, and I'll wink to you with this. What bridge were you on when Queen was walking and they were kind of contemplating some things, and how was that? I'll ask Dre, like what bridge was that? I'm just curious because it was beautifully shot, and I like kind of the angle you took because it was kind of a voiceover, but then she was, it looked beautiful. Where was that exactly? I'm just curious.
Thank you so much for bringing up Mr. Wisdom's bridge. Mr. Wisdom's bridge. Mr. Wisdom's bridge, man. Quick story about that. I got into modeling before I got into film, and being a model, we had actually went to that bridge, the pedestrian bridge downtown. I think it's off of 50th right there. Has the blue light on the top. But the pedestrian bridge, we took pictures there, and we would always take pictures, or we'll do video, like we call it fashion film. And so I always wanted to go back to a bridge and do a scene for a movie. So we did that in the bridge, and over there's some rocks. If you do some walking, you'll see some rocks, and you can go out into the lake, so just me exploring. I used to do a lot of exploring early, when I was young, and just finding places to take shots and different scenes.
Yeah, I definitely have done that too, because there have been a lot of films that have been shot here that has made Chicago look beautiful, and I'm proud when a film is shot here and it makes it look attractive. I'm gonna flip this question back to Jennifer. I'm very happy to hear that Dre was taught you some technical things that happened, because I'm a tech person. I'm definitely a techie, and I love working with cameras and knowing all that stuff that happens. But the acting process, definitely with working with Junior or Joe Sutton, who played your love interest, was this your first time acting? As well as, I'll ask that also of you, as well as Yolanda, if you could let me know if this was your first time acting, and how was it being under Dre's direction?
I think that it was actually, me being an actress is not my very, very first. I played with it in high school. I actually started the drama club because I wanted something to do in high school, and I wasn't the sporty type. So starting up projects, things that I was interested in, was something that I've always been into. So drama club was my very first project in high school, where we would do the skits, and I would organize the skits for the incoming freshmen and to teach them about high school and what they were coming into. So I do have a background of education as well, because I started out becoming a special needs educator. I'm also an advocate. So a lot of the things that I do, I really don't do it for myself. I really do it to like open up other outlets for other people. It's always been a major thing for me. I think that once I started the drama club. I began again with Andre as I became older. My children found an interest in entertainment. They began to dance and sing, and I'm like, oh Lord, I got to get back into it. So we started doing plays and things like that. And I'm like, okay, I have to feed this. If they're interested, I have to feed it. And I began to have fun again. Right?
Wow.
I began to have fun again. And now it just seems like I'm on the right path. I'm in a point in my life where I feel like I'm doing what I was meant to do. And also being able to display the movement, how to shift from one dynamic to the next. And I want to share that. I love it. It's a natural thing for me. I take my feelings and emotions from previous moments in my personal life, and I'm able to feed into those characters what it is that I want to project. So anytime that it's successful like this, where we can have this interview with you, I know I did it right. Thank you.
And Queen, how was it working with Dre? And I will say costume design, I don't know who did that. You ladies were dressed very nicely throughout the entire film. So whoever chose your
We did it.
Then
We
y'all
did
did
it.
a great
We did
job.
it.
So Queen, I like to address you as Queen. How was it in playing the romantic opposite of Mr. Wizdom? How was that?
It was hilarious.
I know. I'm thinking about some scenes.
It was really, I would think it was uniquely and profoundly created. And I mean, being that we all, everyone on the cast, we're family now. We all we didn't know each other, and some of us have worked with each other in the past, but it's now like connected, even in between filming what may be next. We stay in contact. We talk to each other like family. But working with Andre, he takes it very seriously. Even though we laugh and joke, he's on top. He wants to get things done. I think that's why he feels like he has a very good team of us coming together, because everybody cooperates. There were scenes when we filmed them, when we laughed. Like you said, he spoke upon bloopers, I believe, Mr. Michael. Well, maybe they weren't in there, but we had.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, a lot of bloopers.
We had bloopers, but it was all in fun. We were all on point. We back together. But as far as me and his love interest, we connect very well. I think it was a perfect combination.
You want to hear a quick funny story?
Go ahead.
So the Queen and I was supposed to have a bedroom scene, right? And I could tell she was noticeably kind of shook by it. It was like, I don't know, And so I started remembering Dolomite. Say My Name, remember that? And when I learned the backstory on how Dolomite, he didn't think he was suave. He didn't think he was what people wanted to see on the TV screen. So he wanted to make his sex scene funny. And so I started thinking about that. I said, man, I'm going to make this. I know it in the story, we wrote it. It was supposed to be sexy, but I'm going to make it funny. And you know what? At the end of that thing, I knew I had hit it home run, because Queen came down and she gave me a hug. She said, thank you so much, because I was real nervous. She said, I said, man, it was the greatest thing ever, because I was like, man, that I had to pull on my knowledge of seeing that movie, to kind of like pivot, because it wasn't, it wasn't going down.
Well, that's directed, man. Right? That's directed. I mean, and
improvising.
Some of those things you don't get taught. No matter where you go,
Yep.
The experience of making the movie is your teacher. That's how you learn. Because at the end, I mean, you leave it open for a sequel.
Pretty much.
That's my takeaway. My non-professional takeaway is that it's open for a sequel.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I would love to lend your ear on that. And what is the proper amount of time to release a sequel for a movie that is decent? We're talking is getting some views. What's the proper time? You can't just pop out with another Mr. Wizdom 2 the year after or the same month, start shooting,
I mean, you could take you don't want to take the coming to America approach either. You
No.
don't want to, the people are grown, they have grown children, next time.
Hey, I'll be Mr. Wizdom for real. Like,
Yeah.
Say no makeup.
man, for real.
Just
Shoot.
great.
But
Real.
I understand, because the other side is that you don't want to do it like Prince albums either. You don't want to have it, one month later, there's like a whole new album out. Like, hey, I just finished listening to this one. What's going on?
Yeah.
But I liked how it was open at the end, that it did lend itself for a sequel, so we could continue to see some of these characters. Because a lot of them I was very interested in, and I saw you kind of started telling the story about them, and I want to know more. So that's a good thing.
We're
You're
gonna-
definitely wanting more.
Yeah, absolutely. This is kind of the story of Mr. Wizdom and kind of, going forward. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's just I mean, I guess the new Mr. Wizdom, right? The son, Queen. You got Beauty.
Yes.
You got
Yes.
and all these other characters that kind of popped in and out of the story too, that were pretty interesting.
Yeah, you know what? This is what I'll say to Mr. Wizdom. It was born out of a need I wanted to see film in a different way. And like, I grew up watching Spike Lee's of the world, Robert Townsend's, these types of films. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but films became about gangsters and showing the bad side of life instead of really telling, storytelling. And so Mr. Wizdom started off because I wanted to say, I was getting these roles, and I was like, I wanted to step out and do something different, portray myself differently. I wasn't no drug dealer, gangbanger. I was an athlete that lived in the suburbs. So, my life was different. I saw, different world, different states, continents. I mean, I went everywhere. I saw the world. So my experiences were different. And so for that reason, I started, I knew the word needed to come out first, because I saw with those guys, they were getting a message out. So I wanted to actually put out a word, write something that made a difference and told a message instead of, and had my experiences embedded in that weren't, selling drugs or doing anything illegal. It was, just a real story. And you know what? I brought in Queen, and we brought in Beauty, and I used these names because I was tired of the names that were being used for our Black women in film. And really just the way they were being portrayed, and treated instead of, playing real roles. And so I chose that because I felt like it was time to uplift Black women in film and, allow us to kind of break out of that stigmatization that has been put on them, to be sex objects or to be these types of things that they typically, why are we showing that? Like, we can get that, going out to somewhere else. Like, we don't need to be showing that, and so I was just tired of the narrative and how film has been going for Black film. And the history of it kind of began here with Michael Michaud here in Illinois, because he was born here.
So we're talking about the filmmaking. I certainly am interested in the process of what it was like to make this thing, what it was like to be there. And also, Ms. Davis, I recognize that you did more than just act in this. Kind of a joke. I saw the the HFD films. The D I almost thought was for Davis, because I saw so many Davis names going across those credits. I'm like, wow, okay, that made a major contribution to this this film. Well, a wise man once told me, he said, in the end of the day, your brand is you.
Yes.
I think you know what wise man told me that. Mr. Wizdom told me that.
Yeah.
So what is your brand? And over the next 10, 20 years, we see you making movies. When we see Dre, when we see his Dre Blaze film, what does that mean? What will that mean?
Yeah, going forward, I think the history, I think what you're going to see is each film is going to evolve. I am learning so much and intaking so much information. And the cool thing about your brain is as you absorb information, it becomes more absorbent, just like a sponge. You don't feed it any information, it's going to brittle up just like a sponge. It's not going to be absorbent at all. So I think my brain is at its highest level of capacity right now, which is awesome, and so what you're going to see is just a change of equipment. I have some equipment in mind. I've already been planning out the next steps. I have a company. I got people, Queen, Beauty, they down. Like Junior, they all down for HFD films. So I'm looking at a studio. I'm looking at becoming an aggregator for people who want to release those films also, because there's a lot that goes into it. You got to pass quality control. And there's like a lot of different specifications that you have to go through in order to put your movie up on platforms that actually span across multiple states, countries, or whatever. And so, you got to make sure it's edited right. You got to make sure you can master the sound and you can master the picture. I mean, there's a lot you got to know. And so I'd like to be an aggregator as well as a studio in order to not only make films, but also inspire others to make films themselves, because it is possible.
Yeah, anything is possible. And it is a great way to honor, the history of Black filmmaking. Just if you're able to do it, the accessibility to get your material out is out there, and it's fascinating. Myself and on behalf of myself and Michael Womble, we want to thank you guys for joining us. The Mysterious Mr. Wizdom. It's available on Amazon Prime. Yolanda Bell, Jennifer Davis, and the talented Andre.
Wizdom with a Z.
With a Z. Got to make sure it's with a Z. And Dre Blaze Rodgers. Thank you so very much. I'm Valarie Johnson, and this is Interludes. For more of our interview and video clips with Dre Blaze Rodgers and the cast of The Mysterious Mr. Wizdom, please go to the Interludes Extra playlist on our YouTube channel. Next week on Interludes.
One thing I argue in my book is that soul food is really the food that Black migrants took out of the South during the Great Migration and transplanted in other parts of the country.
Our resident soul food scholar is back with his new book, Black Smoke, African Americans and the United States of Barbecue. Adrian Miller on the next Interludes. Interludes. Original concept by Valarie Johnson. Written by Michael Womble. Produced by Michael Womble and Valarie Johnson. Original intro and outro music produced by Kendall Nesbitt. Interludes, a pure Lighthouse production. Brought to you by A1 Pestmasters. For all your exterminating and pest control needs, call A1 Pestmasters at area code 773-365-9962 or visit their website at a1pestmasters.com. When you book your appointment with A1 Pestmasters, tell them that you heard it first on the podcast called Interludes. Please subscribe and like our new Interludes podcast YouTube channel.